Send on email.
All right, nothing in the room. May we please have a roll call?
Trustee Dickinson.
Here.
Trustee Jackson Miller.
Here.
Trustee Donnelly.
Here.
Trustee Gray.
Here.
Trustee Edmondson.
Present. All right, the board will convene to close session.
In session to order, may we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance?
It's virtual.
Do you want to announce? Yeah. 1 second. Your principal's going to announce you.
All right, I'm very pleased to introduce you Pietra Paishon. She's a 5th grade student from SoCal in Miss Flanagan's class.
All right.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Let's do the mission statement. Did they tell you about that?
On
Right
the
up
wall,
there.
right on that wall.
Staff, students, parents, and the community help ensure that that each child develops the skills and character necessary for lifelong achievement and responsible citizenship in a diverse world.
We have a lovely certificate that I'm going to read about you. Pietra, a 5th grade student in Ms. Flanagan's class, is a motivated and well-rounded learner with big dreams for the future. She aspires to attend Harvard or Stanford one day and hopes to become a lawyer. Math is her favorite subject, and she enjoys challenging herself academically while also taking on leadership roles at school. Outside the classroom, Pietra stays very active. She plays soccer as a midfielder and defender, rides horses as an equestrian, and practices jujitsu. She recently competed in her first jujitsu tournament and proudly earned a gold medal, placing first in her division. As a white belt just starting out, she is excited to continue growing in the sport, especially with her dad serving as a jujitsu coach. Pietra also has strong cultural ties to Brazil, where half her family lives. She has visited Brazil several times and speaks some Portuguese. In her free time, she enjoys being creative and is a skilled potter. At home, she loves spending time with her dog, Kenny, and caring for her 3 fish.
Wow. Well, we often ask questions of our pledge leader. Can we ask you a few questions?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to start?
Well, I had the opportunity to spend some time this afternoon and basically went over everything. I didn't know you wanted to be a lawyer and go to Stanford or Harvard. That's a great goal. Is there a reason why you thought of being a lawyer?
I don't know, I just kind of like the thought of like being a lawyer, but I've always kind of wanted to.
You like standing up here and talking, huh?
Yeah.
I know that, yeah.
Feel at home in front of the podium.
I could see you doing a debate, maybe debate in college or high school.
Amanda's a
Yeah.
lawyer. What tips do you have?
Oh, yeah. That's true. I am a lawyer. And there are lots of ways to be a lawyer, whether you like to make a big argument and prove your case and debate people, or whether you want to look at language in something and really fine tune it to make sure that it meets everyone's needs. So there are lots of things you can do, and it's great to have goals to do well in school and go to wherever is going to meet your needs, and they'll be lucky to have you wherever you go and whatever you do. Yeah. So there's always a need for people to dream big and think big, and I can tell you're one of those. I had a question for you, if that's okay. What is your favorite thing about SoCal Elementary?
I like all the fun activities that they have there, like the sports.
Yeah, nice.
What do you like better, like horseback riding, soccer, potting? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, pottery.
Pottery, yeah.
I like soccer.
Soccer the best?
Yeah.
You know, it just so.
Yeah, there we go.
We got about 20 girls right over there, and we're very, 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 very good at soccer. You will be too. We look forward to having you on the Brighton team. All right, terrific.
It looks like you do a lot of sports. How do you find the time to do all your different?
I normally do one activity each day of the week, but For jujitsu, I had to take a break because I had a lot of activities, but I have soccer on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I used to have jujitsu on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I just stopped doing jujitsu for a little while. Just started doing like soccer and horse riding on Wednesdays.
And since your dad's the coach, do you just do it in your living room? You just pull up. In town.
We have 2 mats in our living room.
So you're about to graduate from Soquel Elementary. As you think back to your time at Soquel Elementary, what's an activity or an event you went to that will just always stay with you?
I like the Winter Boutique.
Yeah, can you tell us about it?
It's where a bunch of people sell things that they make, and you could like volunteer there
Oh,
and
wow.
make things to sell.
Yeah.
I did it for 1 year, and I made candles and ornaments with
Wow.
flowers, so it was really fun.
Wow, very cool. Wow, you made candles.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool.
Tell us a little bit about Brazil.
It's really nice. It's really hot there.
Huh?
And I go to the beach like every time we go there for about 10 days, I think.
Uh-huh.
And we have a beach house, and like it's really fun. And we go swimming and stuff.
What beach?
Um,
go to?
Ubatuba and Balea are the 2 that I can remember.
Yeah, we talked about swimming here compared to Brazil. You prefer Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being our pledge leader. It's always so fun to get a student to start off our meeting. We'd love to grab a picture with you, and
We also have this gift card to Two Birds Bookstore, which is a cute little bookstore.
Yeah,
down
she's
in
a reader too.
Point. So you can
And
go
one
get yourself a
that she's
treat
over the-
there.
What books were you're reading right now?
Diary of Wood.
Oh, okay. So good.
We're gonna take a picture if that's okay.
Your parents want to come up?
Yes.
Again. You wanna come in the picture? Are you okay with that?
Did you really? Why you didn't mention that? What else have you done? You have your private finance life, right?
Ms. Birchall. come on.
Oh. No, you're.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Uh-oh. The back has to be a little bit. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool kid.
Where you get your.
Not if I win my argument with Coach Henry.
all right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Next, I'd like to have an adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
All right, a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Report out of closed session as there's nothing to report. May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
A second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to recognition. This is our favorite part. Recognition of the New Brighton Middle School 6th, 7th grade girls soccer team for league championship.
Coach Whitwell.
Thank you.
Can't
get rid of me.
Nick Schmidt,
Yeah.
can I just say a couple words and introduce you first of all? I just have to say, I really appreciate Coach Witt being a fabulous, amazing coach, not only a fabulous science teacher, a part of our teaching staff, but coming in and coaching the kids every single year. I happened to be at the game, that final game. You all did fabulous. It was such an exciting game. Congratulations. And so I just wanted to say congratulations to you and to all of the girls. And
The New Brighton girls soccer team season championship is a testament not only to their talents on the field, but to the way they embrace the values of the New Brighton community. Throughout the season, they have consistently exemplified the New Brighton way, showing respect for teammates, opponents, coaches, and officials, leading with kindness and taking responsibility for themselves, their teammates, and their actions. This season was defined by heart, perseverance, and a belief in one another. This is one of the most coachable groups of girls I have ever had the pleasure of working with. We battled through injuries, 2 different penalty kick shootouts, halftime deficits, and opponents that were probably twice our size. This team showed incredible resilience and made sure to make every team earn every inch against us. This is truly one for the history books and a championship run that will be remembered as a defining moment for New Brighton girls soccer.
Yeah.
On a very nice trophy.
All right, well, we are so proud of you, and you have that brand new field. You guys are just rocking it amazing. We have some awards for you. So what I'd like to ask is we're going to call you up. You can come grab your award, go back to your seat, and then when everyone has their award, we'll come and we'll get a group photo. Sound good?
Perfect.
All right, I'd like to start off with your coach, Coach Emily.
I have the certificate for Layla Beckett. Casey Asensio. And Chantal Avila Hernandez.
And I get the pleasure to hand out Genevieve Davis. Congratulations. Natalie Leon. No, this is a mouthful. Leslyn Ramirez Mendoza.
She is also not here.
Okay, Athena. Okay, well, how do you
Simony.
remember how to say your last name?
Simonides Hopkins.
Very good. All right, congratulations. Okay, Carla Watson.
Here. All right. I have certificates for Daphne Hoffman. That's right, Alice Moore. Sierra Piro.
And I'm just kind of curious, did you guys dress in your uniforms for this meeting? Or you just have like?
Well,
We got all
I was gonna
that.
say they're not political, so I. Gotcha,
Perfect.
gotcha. Just had to check. I thought you were just super enthusiastic.
There we go.
Aubrey Domalanta. Aubrey?
Lexi.
Oh, got you.
Oh, okay, is Lexi. Cruz Domo. And Lillian Dudley. Alyssa Fenner Maloney. That's it. Yeah, congratulations.
All right. All right, can we get a group photo with the soccer team?
You or we're all gonna fit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In the back. Thank you very much. There you go.
Just move that up. Exactly, exactly, exactly. I'm gonna peek out of that. It's gonna be like. You're so sweet. Stand in all of your glory. Or you call it you. Here we go. Everyone's
It's fine. Right. Oh, got it. Wait. Let's get I was threatening them with you guys asking questions.
We can still.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder, Coach.
It was the highlight.
Yeah, let's hear a few.
It was one highlight, huge thing that happened out there in the field.
The questions are the funnest part.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear a few.
Because we.
I get a few questions from you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Questions.
Yeah.
After questions.
Wait, you mean you just thought you'd just come here?
Who had the penalty kicks? Who did the penalty? Were those really nerve-wracking?
Yes.
Who was your toughest competition this year? It should know.
Oh, was it a close game?
Yeah. They were up at half.
Oh, yeah, and you came back?
Nice.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah.
How do you guys like the new field?
So nice. It's so fun.
Hear that on YouTube? They're the first team to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the field too. I thought, yeah.
Well, now everybody else has a pretty high bar.
Yeah.
You don't win the
Yeah.
championship.
That's right.
You have the first player to score on that field in this room.
Really? Wow, that's great.
All right, I want to know what's a tip you might give to another team about just how to get to a top level like you guys did. Yeah?
Have you as a coach.
That's that very coachable player.
Others, let's hear. Give us some tips. Yeah,
Staying connected as a team.
I love that.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Team.
yeah. Yeah. How do you guys stay connected? Like when you're playing and you're on the field?
Lock in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Talk to, yeah? 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 Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you guys are saying about good teamwork
Mhm.
can apply to this team too,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
We need to take from this and talk about, right? We lock in, we communicate. right?
Yeah,
Any-
yeah.
Any group that
yeah.
wants to function with
Yeah.
the same goal.
Yeah.
Is wise.
Exactly.
wise
And
words.
what about next year? What goals do you guys have for next year?
The championship again.
Yeah.
You
Nice.
guys are 6th and 7th graders, right?
Yeah.
Okay, who's moving out of the division? Who's the 7th graders here?
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, and the rest of you guys are all in 6th grade?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. All right. Oh, I'm sure they could, but
Oh, yeah.
that means she's gonna have most of her 6th graders that'll still be on the team next year.
Yeah.
Are you already recruiting 5th graders? And-
Oh, yeah.
Oh, your parents
You're welcome.
programs with protein every night.
Well, we are so proud of you guys.
Yeah.
The league championship, it's such a big deal. And we're just so proud of you guys. How about one more
Yeah.
word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, parents.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you, parents. You guys helped.
That'll make the loss. I had like 20 of them. I think I donated half of like everything to them.
But great group of students.
Yeah. All right.
Love the trophy. Super good.
Basket. All right, so exciting. Golly, that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So exciting. All right. All right, let's move on to some of the business. Public communication. Is there anything on email?
Nothing on email, sorry.
Oh, right. Anything in the room? Did anyone fill out one of those forms, Jen? Oh, right. Nothing in the room. All right. We are moving on to item 7, our annual organization meeting. We're going to be electing new positions for the board. And I just want to say that it has been my honor to serve you guys for 2 years as your board president. And I'm so excited for this rotation of leadership.
Speaking of that, we would like to honor you for those hardworking 2 years with this nice gavel that you put on the wall. Let's give it up for board president.
Oh, you guys. You guys are too nice. You make it easy.
It went by fast.
It did.
I don't know.
It's good. It's
Okay.
yeah, there's a learning curve and
You locked in.
we have such a great community. It's just really great to, serve our community. So thanks, everybody.
Well said. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to our first item, 7A, elect the new board president.
Yeah, so we're open for nominations if somebody would like to nominate a fellow trustee or themselves for the position of board president.
I'd like to nominate Ariel Gray.
Do we have a second?
I'll third that.
All for that.
You want to take the challenge?
I am honored to be nominated. I am up for the challenge. I will say my personal and professional life in the next 6 months are going to be kind of intense. So I don't know that I can take, it's a lot to take on more. So I would love maybe some help with at least like the corresponding with the public. Like, I just don't think that I'd be able to respond in a timely manner. So I don't know if Amanda, you'd be up for helping me with that, or Callie. Yeah.
So our board policy now is that the board president is kind of the spokesperson for emails, but that's our rule. So I feel like if we had a person that was open to the presidency
States or appointed.
person, so
right.
we could just, change that to support that person in leadership. Would you be interested in the board president if we made a change like that? Okay. All right.
All right.
We have nominations was accepted. Are there any other nominations? I didn't think so, given that everybody said yay. So now we'll
All right.
ask for a vote. So the motion on the table is that for the next year, the Ariel Gray will serve as the board president. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, President. And I think we're good with staying in our current seats, unless, is that okay with you? And then.
We have our next.
No, but I mean, like, not switching right now that Ariel is president, the actual
let's-
physical seat.
Let's do the whole
Okay.
thing and then.
All right, you tell me.
All right.
All right, let's go on to Vice President. Ariel, thank you for serving as Vice President.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And do we have a nomination for next year's coming up, Vice President?
Well, all right, now
talking?
the president, right?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, grab the gavel.
Yeah. I didn't touch it. Amanda, I feel like you would make a great vice president. It'd be a nice support role, and you've had your break. We need you back.
I'll second that.
It's an
You would
idea.
be, great. Leadership. Dynamic duo.
If the board chooses me, I'm happy to step in.
All right.
So Amanda Jackson Miller has been nominated for vice president and is willing to accept the nomination if she's voted in. Are there any other nominations? Okay, so the motion on the table that has been motioned and seconded is that Amanda Jackson Miller serve as board vice president. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Vice President Jackson Miller.
All right. Board secretary.
This is the great position, so I nominate myself to again be board secretary for the 11th consecutive year. But I'm willing to hear other nominations should anybody want to do it.
Decline that.
All in favor of, oh, well, we'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion. We appreciate everything that you and especially with Jen's support
Yes,
do.
mostly Jen.
Yeah, both, but thank you for serving in that role.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion on the table that Superintendent Scott Turnbull serve as board secretary. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations, Superintendent Turnbull. All right. And now we are moving forward with the board committee appointments. Or did you want to address seating?
I feel like we could switch seats right now if that works for people and then move on with the agenda. Does that work?
I
Or,
wait till the end.
Wait till the
I
end.
mean, the next meeting, we'll just have new seats.
oh,
Yeah.
Instead of,
Yeah.
okay,
Fine.
Just save us a couple minutes if that's
sure.
okay with you, unless you're
No,
wanting a change.
There's no Brown Act part of this. It's
Yeah.
just whether
Okay.
what the board chooses to do. Or not.
okay, sounds good.
All right. Okay, so for board committee appointments, we have on page 152 of the docket, you'll see what the current representation is. And I will just be fully transparent and say that I have not done a great job at getting the joint leadership team committee together. That's on me, and I will do a better job of that and work with the city manager of Capitola. Yeah, I won't make any excuses, just to say that I need to get those meetings back up and running. So that hasn't been happening for a while, but will be happening. Of course, then we had the Child Nutrition Advisory Committee, which is 2 meetings per year. And Ted's been serving on that.
And you
We
get
have-
samples too.
Oh, well, there you go. You just sweeten the pot. I talked about the joint leadership team, which has been board president and vice president typically. The fiscal prioritization team, which Callie has been representing on. The Santa Cruz County School Boards Association, otherwise known as SCUSBA. Thank you, Amanda, for having been representing on that. And then we had the design team for our bond Measure P, which Amanda and Ted have been involved with. So first, we would like to just start with what are you? Let's start with the Child Nutrition Advisory Committee. Is anybody interested in serving on that? And if there's no,
I mean, it's that tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll stay in there.
you'd like to stay on there? Okay, that's where I was going. Thank you. So as we kind of keep the chart. At the very end, I'll summarize everything. So we have Ted for 2026 Child Nutrition Advisory Committee, Joint Leadership Team.
Sorry, Scott, but
Yo.
we have the Chamber of Commerce. At the
Oh,
top
did I
of the
miss
list.
that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
thank you. Chamber of Commerce. Why did I miss that? I thought was
Yeah,
that.
mine
Robert,
have
thank
to
you for
talk,
serving
yeah.
on that. So let's go back to that. Is there anybody interested in serving on that? And if not, Robert, are you interested in continuing?
I'll keep doing it unless somebody else wants to do it.
Go for it.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
give somebody else an opportunity. but
Appreciate
sure.
you really attend those events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a good job with that.
Awesome.
Okay,
Guys are making this easy.
A lot, right?
most of them,
Yeah,
most of
yeah.
them are luncheons. Yeah,
I can't ever make those, but thank you for doing it.
yeah, they
Yeah.
do them over the Dream Hotel.
No.
Oh, nice.
So-
Oh,
Oh, no, that's one of them. Sorry.
That's
That's the
another one.
that's the Santa Cruz Chamber. Sorry.
I hope you don't get them mixed up.
I go to a lot of chambers.
Oh, there we
Thank
go.
you.
Yeah. Chamber singer.
That's great. That's how you make the connections.
Yeah.
Now we're going to the joint leadership team, which in recent years has been kind of default president and vice president. So I'm wondering if our new president and vice president would be interested in serving on that. It's typically once a month, sometimes once every 2 months, so it's not a huge commitment. We've been doing them by Zoom for convenience, doing them in the evening, trying to find a time since it involves city council members and board members, a lot of, moving schedules and busy people. So we try to make it as convenient as possible with a early evening virtual meeting.
But I will say it's some of the really fun activities like the art tile project along, I forget the name of that street.
Esplanade.
Yeah, along the
Mhm.
Esplanade. That was one of the projects. So really fun. The equity swim.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think I mean, if you're up for it, I think it would make sense for president or vice president.
Oh, yeah,
Unless
definitely.
you want to stay on it.
I can if that helps, but it does make sense that the president would be on there.
Because the mayor, vice mayor.
Right.
perhaps Kelly could be alternate.
Sure.
Tradition.
I'd be happy to be the alternate.
Okay. You're getting all this right, Jen. Thank you, because I'm not gonna remember. I need to circle back and say we don't have an alternate. Ariel has been serving as alternate for Child Nutrition Advisory Committee. Would you like to stay in that capacity, or do we have a different nomination? I don't think you've had to,
And I would probably prefer if someone
as
else
president,
be-
yeah,
be the
yeah,
alternate.
makes sense. Somebody want to get some of Ted's food?
I just can't do middle of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had to be the alternate, so I don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Ted does a thorough job.
Bad and tired.
Unless you're sick, the chances of an alternate
Unless I'm
being
down south
needed
with
is
grandkids,
pretty slim.
yeah.
So it's kind of more of a placeholder position, but is somebody willing to be a placeholder just in case? We can go without an alternate.
Yeah, let's go.
Put my name down.
All right,
Okay,
thank
then.
you, Robert. Robert is the alternate for that. All right, skipping back down to fiscal prioritization team. Callie has been serving in that capacity, and Robert has been the alternate. Both can attend the meetings because obviously two trustees don't violate the Brown Act. And so interested in whether you.
I would love to stay on that
like
team.
Any of that?
Stay on there then.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right.
and I'll still remain the alternate, because I think I'm in half of most
Yeah.
of them anyways.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
really like to participate in that, so,
Okay,
I know when there were three of us that were interested in, it was the.
Oh, Measure P.
Maybe I was thinking racial justice task force, but maybe
Oh.
I'm getting, right, where we did kind of but this was
Yeah.
several years ago, and
Yeah.
we kind of did a.
we could move,
Rotation.
how about if we move to have two members on that team, since it's allowable and there's interest,
Yeah.
and then have a third person be alternate, and then we'll be mindful
Sure.
of saying,
Yeah.
hey, how about at the next meeting, the alternate be the person on, and so that way we're never violating the Brown Act, but have three people involved over the course of the year.
That's a creative idea. I like that idea.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is,
Rochambeau?
Yeah.
I think I'm hearing
I like being on that meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too.
Callie and Robert, and correct me if I'm wrong, Callie and Robert as members of the fiscal prioritization team, Ariel as alternate, but with a mindfulness that there will be times where we say, Robert, you're gonna sit this one out, or Callie, you're gonna sit this one out, and Ariel will be at the meeting. Not just in case.
I'm okay with that. Does that work for you?
yes, I think I want to participate more than just like occasionally though,
Mhm.
so,
So have it be a rotation.
Clear rotation.
yeah.
We could just name all three people, and then I'll just set up a schedule of our rotation when two people come to this meeting, two different people come to the next meeting, et cetera.
That's a great idea.
Just do it like that.
Yeah. let's
Okay,
do
so I
that.
think what I'm hearing then is for Callie, Robert, and Ariel to be members of that team. And they'll be on a rotation basis where two are invited to each meeting, making sure everybody has an equal number of meetings throughout the year, are close to equal as the math
I'm
comes out.
also wondering if that should be more than a quarter. Seems like one of the most important topics for us for this next year. That quarterly seems not quite enough.
Monthly?
I would say monthly.
I'm willing to make it monthly?
It hasn't, yeah, it's met more frequently than quarterly in the past, so.
Right, we'll change that to monthly with people that we mentioned before.
Sounds
All
great.
right. Santa Cruz County School Boards Association, otherwise known as SCUSBA. Amanda, you've always been great at filling in there and offering leadership. Is that the capacity you're interested in?
I'm super flexible. I have been doing it for a really long time,
Mhm.
like since 2014, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, a long time. So if anyone else is interested in being the voting member of this group, that's fine. I could still attend. So I'm just offering it up.
I think I've been her alternate for 3 years.
How many meetings?
And not once have I ever needed to attend one of those meetings.
The president of that group. For
I think you
2.5
are,
years.
yes.
But
If you don't show up, there's a catastrophe.
They like seeing you there.
no,
Really
Yeah,
glad to
yeah.
stay in there, yeah.
yeah.
And Robert, you're willing to continue in that really heavy lift of the alternate there?
It's been a really drag on my time. Yeah, for sure.
All right. And then finally, the Measure P design team, Amanda and Ted were serving that capacity. That meeting ebbs and flows depending on what part of the construction projects we're in. Sometimes it's, pretty regular. And then other times, once we have decisions made, there'll be a little lag. So it's kind of on an as needed basis. Sometimes it'll be heavy, sometimes it won't. So I'll just start with Amanda and Ted. Are you interested in?
I'll hang in there
continuing?
unless somebody else wants to jump in. Do you still want to do, I'll hang in there.
like to give that one up just because I've picked up something else here.
Makes
So I'd
sense.
love to give someone else the chance. I don't mind being the alternate, but
Okay.
I think I'm adding a lot to my plate.
Do we have somebody that would like to be on that team?
There's still work with Measure P.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Got other
I'd be
schools?
happy to step in.
All right, so I'm hearing Ted and Callie, and do we have Robert? Would you like to continue as alternate?
I was the alternate on that?
Yeah.
We're getting the call.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
And well, maybe never mind.
Okay. You want to summarize, please? This
Yes.
is
So-
what you'll motion.
So Chamber of Commerce will be trustee Dickinson, Child Nutrition Advisory Committee will be trustee Donnelly with trustee Dickinson as the alternate. Joint Leadership Team will be trustee Gray and trustee Jackson Miller with trustee Edmondson as the alternate. The Fiscal Prioritization Team will be trustee Edmondson, trustee Dickinson, and trustee Gray on an alternating basis for each meeting. The Santa Cruz County School Boards Association will be trustee Jackson Miller with trustee Dickinson as the alternate. And the Measure P design team meeting will be trustee Donnelly and trustee Edmondson with trustee Dickinson as the alternate.
I'm glad you're good at taking this. Thank you. So
Yeah.
She has
Oh,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
sit down.
The other thing is that with the fiscal prioritization team being
Thank you.
changed to monthly meetings.
we have a motion for that.
I'll make the motion for all that.
I'll second the emotion.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
All right, thank you for getting the committees up and running. The next item, if I may.
Yeah.
Is for the dates. Can you believe all the way out through middle of 2027? And so the list of the proposed dates are listed out there. Following that typical pattern of first and third Wednesdays, unless there's something like the CSBA conference in early December that calls for only one meeting a month. And then continuing that pattern that we've had that's been really helpful to staff of having the June board meetings be second and fourth Wednesdays instead of first and third, as all those big important things like budget and LCAP come together. And so questions?
Were holidays checked?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments?
I cannot make the January 20th meeting.
Okay.
One of the meetings is the 25th wedding anniversary, but
Wow.
I'll see if I'm here. Nancy, are you watching?
I guess one note that I didn't say is we are proposing, you see from the list of dates, that we go dark in July this time around. And so we're all staff, including construction related partners, are really being mindful to try to get everything on board meetings ahead of time, so that we don't have to go back and forth with your calendars. Just give you a break in July. If there's no other questions, pass it on to board president for a vote.
All right. Do we just on a motion? It's a
Yeah,
vote?
so is there a motion for the list the dates?
Approve the dates for 26, 27.
I'll make them, go for it. No, we're,
Just trying to move it along.
yeah, I love it.
I'll make the motion to approve the dates for 26, 27.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All any nays? Great. motion passes on the dates.
Right. You're officially organized.
All right, we go to the standing reports.
I'll be glad to start if that's okay with board president.
Sure.
And so I'm just gonna make mine really quick, given the robust agenda, but I did just want to acknowledge the math visits that Dr. Kiernan Glantz and I have been engaged with. We've done all 4 sites pretty recently. And I just want to say how impressed I am with the math instruction, all kinds of instruction, but we've been focused on math instruction. You can just see the rigor and the seriousness in all 4 of our schools that teachers and students are approaching math with, and those big 3 that we've talked about of 60 minutes in elementary of math, academic conversations, and math fluency are really, really visible. So just not only been enjoying them, but just really feel confident that our students are getting an excellent math curriculum and instruction. And then I also want to say I've had a chance now to meet with all 4 student leadership groups at our schools. And man, what a mature group of students. They're giving me great input across the board. I always just start with 2 questions. What's great at your school? And what are some few things maybe that we could do better at? Without exception, it always starts, we have great teachers. I've heard that right off the bat from students every time. And we really appreciate, how much they care about us, and then get a few little odds and ends that we can improve on too. So I just really appreciate it hearing that student voice. That's all for me. Would you like assistant services to go? All right, you're up.
Thank you. And I will just tag team with Superintendent Turnbull. We have had some amazing visits, and I want to highlight 2 visits that we've recently had at SoCal. Our teachers that are here in this audience, so really, really great job. And we're moving forward with our next steps with our math adoption, which is very exciting. So we've got some math pilot teachers. Our first pilot curriculum is going to be Amplify Desmos, which is at the top of the recommendation list. So we're excited about moving that forward. And then we have our professional development day in January that we've been working really hard to get ready for. And Scott and Chris and I have done some tag teaming with our SIP partners in order to organize that in a really nice way for our staff. I just want to give a shout out to all of our staff who make our kids' days at school so special, and especially this time of year, it takes so many working parts to make those days so special. So I just want to give everybody a big shout out. And then congratulations, Ted, on becoming a grandfather.
Thank you. We'll put float photos up here.
That's it for me for today.
And I will be quick. So last year, if you all recall, you approved a resolution to go forward with for a new bus. So we're finally getting a little further in the process. It's been really exciting because they kept demanding that we get the serial numbers off of the engine that we couldn't get to and couldn't see. So we were tearing that thing apart, sending numbers that we're finding here, there, and everywhere. So finally, we're able to get them. And we finally got an invoice yesterday morning for the bus. So now we're going to start the talks for the grant. So this is the next step in the process. So we're getting closer. So that's super exciting. So then we'd have another electric bus add to our tiny fleet. So that was one thing that was super exciting. Excited to bring our leaseback selection tonight. So we can start moving forward on our elementary sites for the amphitheaters and fields. So we have an amazing field out here that we're able to see our, award-winning soccer team. So it's super exciting to have that starting in the summer. And what else? Holiday families. That was something that we did on Monday. We did all of our wrapping of the gifts in the board, or not in the boardroom, in the business office. Everyone came together. We had a little potluck, and it's so nice just to see and feel that we're actually giving back to students and so forth. Other than that, just excited that first interim is completed, and we'll be going over that later tonight.
Nice. Great. Do we have anyone from CSEA?
No, and I don't have anything. Other communications from
SCA?
Hi.
Hello.
So SCA doesn't have a formal statement today, but we would like to say happy holidays to everyone. Thank you very much for working with us.
Right back at you.
Yeah.
Are we doing the update on bond projects now? Or are we gonna do that with the?
I can do a quick one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Jim. Good to see you all. Happy holidays. Real quick, the field between our inspector and our architect, we're getting the final paperwork into DSA to get that thing signed off. Job's not done until the paperwork's done, right? That's what they say. The only thing left are panels around the scoreboard for the fencing. So when those come in, they'll be installed, and really that's it. The punch list is complete. On the Measure P projects, we now have 5 projects with DSA. The three site improvement, the fields and the amphitheaters, and then the modernization at New Brighton and the modernization at Soquel Elementary are also in. The biggest thing to talk about, and it'll just take a second, is DSA itself. I jotted down different adjectives that were used at our meeting today. Massively impacted was one of them. Glut of projects was another term I heard today, and they're 6 weeks behind. And 2 weeks ago, I heard that in the month of December, DSA has received over $1 billion in projects to approve. So that's going to be a challenge. It's going to take some time, but this too shall pass, and we'll get everything approved, and hammers will start being thrown around and saws, and will ruin elementary schools' lives for a while. And I was told a long time ago that 2 things don't mix. That's schools and construction. So here we go. And so we'll hit the ball running pretty hard, hit the ground running pretty hard in January. We have our weekly meetings will kick back up then. And then we are all excitedly anticipating the approval of the lease back with Kent. They're here tonight, smiling faces. We're excited to work with them, and we'll start meetings with them right away after the first year pre-construction, which is so important to get everybody on the same page. That's why this one went so well. So, questions?
I got one. What can you do, or maybe better, either can or can't you do without the DSA approval? Like if they really are backlogged and it's
So we
have
have what we will have like bid sets. So they're not approved, they don't have the stamp on them, but it's a set that you can use for pricing, and that's called a bid set. So we can work off of those. Usually there's not a huge, especially on fields, there's not a huge change from the bid set and the DSA approved set. So that's what we'll start with Kent with. We'll start with plans. They can start getting their interviewing their subcontractors. They can start talking about scheduling and scope and fencing outlines and all those kinds of general provisions that they have to do, and all that can get laid out and be approved and worked on. So when we do get that bid set, they're ready to go. So that's what we can do. We can do a lot.
Okay.
Except build. Yeah, no shovels in the ground until we get DSA. Nice. All right. It's a good group of people here, I tell you. All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It scared me when you said adjectives that were flown around. I was like, what is going on?
Well, it just kept coming up. I mean, it's like deluge of projects. I'll write that down. That's a good line. So
I was expecting different after.
well, those were the ones I said when I heard the first ones.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Good.
great. All right,
Thanks,
thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Tim.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Do we have any updates from trustees? We do have a separate item on the CSBA conference, so.
Well, I'll hop in. I had the pleasure this afternoon of meeting with our pledge leader. And went over her life activities and what she's into, and a great kid to chat with. And before that, Scott and I had a tour. We went into the art room and then the music room. And they're all performing music and art. They were doing their artwork, and then
And you knew the composer in the music room. I was impressed with that. Who's the
yeah,
composer?
John Williams.
There you go.
Yeah. And then they were playing along with John Williams. And then the drama, well, there was a second grade class, and they were doing table reads for their performance, and that is tomorrow in the classrooms, right? And that
In
was
Spanish and English.
What's that?
In Spanish and English.
That's
and
right. I knew
yeah.
there was another one in there too, and that was a lot of fun also.
No, the one with the plays, they were doing the play in English. When
Oh,
we heard.
I thought you meant the class.
No, that in that class was
You're
also
right.
going to
You're
read it.
exactly right. Yeah, they're doing it in both languages. So But it looked like they were having a lot of fun at their table reads and they were focused. They were, at it. And I remember there was somebody started talking and there was somebody who was directing them to stay on project. And then Spanish class. What was that called again?
The second grade DLI class.
That's it. Okay, the DLI class. Sorry. And that was a pleasure as well too. Great bunch of kids in there. Great personalities too. These kids all have great personalities go in there and they really like to chat it up. So thanks for the tour. I had a great time. Campus is looking great. Once that field's in there, it's gonna look even better. I mean, I was looking at the field there and then comparing to New Brighton, it's like, okay, what did New Brighton look like before? Yeah,
Look
so
a
when
lot
that hits, it's gonna be wonderful. But anyways, thank you for the tour of the school. It was a pleasure.
I'm gonna save most of my report from the conference, but I did congratulations on being selected president, and I just kind of wanted to plant the seed for this governance team. I'd like us to think about finding a way to connect, like break bread together, where there's absolutely like no business done whatsoever, where we really just connect as human beings, talk about our families, talk about our hobbies, things like that. I would just like to plant that seed for a thought for us to hold for early next year. That's one of the nice things that we oftentimes get to do if we're all able to attend a conference, but that didn't happen. So just wanted to lay that as an option.
Okay. I'll save mine
Yeah.
for the
Good idea.
that item.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
fun idea.
It's more to listen to you all this. Get to
Yeah.
All right, next we're gonna move into presentations. Maybe before we do that, Carissa, can you open the door a little bit? It's
surprisingly
It's
what's in here.
weird, yeah. I think this is cooling us down.
Oh.
Because it's cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Brittany. You're up.
I'll just do a quick introduction.
Okay.
It wasn't all that long ago that you welcomed Brittany as the principal of SoCal Elementary. No rest for the weary. She's jumped right in and really taking leadership of the school and embraced the culture there. And tonight we get to hear so many of the great things that are happening there. So thank you, Principal Virtual.
Thank you. Also, this will be my first time using a clicker, so I don't know how to do it. This one? Okay. All right, so yes, it is my honor and privilege to get to represent SoCal Elementary as the new principal this year. And I have a fabulous portion of our staff here tonight representing. So thank you to our staff for being here. I want to just kind of start off by saying, obviously it's my first time, so clearly I had some nerves. And I will also say, once I just kind of directed my thoughts back to what we do and why we're doing it, and it's for kids, then it just became a little bit easier. So at SoCal, let's make this switch over here, I think, because that's the right one. Okay. We really believe in cultivating a culture of belonging for students, and we do that in many ways throughout the year. We want students to find belonging on campus. We know that the research says when students have at least one person on campus that they connect with, their likelihood for success increases. And we have many ways that we have student opportunities and special traditions. As you can see in some of the pictures, just by creating that first day, there's Mrs. Jessica Hassani, our school counselor on the right, creating that welcoming environment on campus, to partnering with parents for college and career. We have SoCal Elementary Running Club, which one of our fabulous teacher, Miss Jen Flanagan, our fifth grade teacher, is here, who helps to lead that with a parent. That is every Friday, open for all students in grades 1st through 5th to run around the track. And there's all kinds of incentives throughout the year as students can earn and scan their little, what is it called? Their barcode. And anyways, there's some really fun incentives for them to hit when they hit more miles on the track, and kids get really excited about that. We have our El Dia de los Muertos celebration, where we're really helping students create or find belonging by identifying with their own culture and who they are on campus, and finding those adults that they also identify with. And then again, just having special traditions like our jogathon, our end of year dance, and buddy classes. Oops. All right, in the area of attendance, we're very excited that
On the dashboard, we've moved from yellow to green, and we're continuing the work there this year. We have some strong systems in place and some strong practices around attendance and instilling values for attendance that are positive right from the get-go. So at our weekly Friday PBIS assemblies, every week, we're recognizing the top 3 grade levels with the highest percentage of attendance. We're keeping it really positive, announcing the actual percents, and the kids are now cheering for those percentages. And I mean, this is TK through 5th grade, so it's really fun to see everyone get really excited. And then from there, we also have hot chocolate with our school counselor. Students with positive attendance go into a raffle for that, and they can go down to the Ugly Mug with our school counselor. Students really look forward to that announcement at our weekly assemblies. We have built off of our weekly attendance recognition and taken that to a monthly grade level honor, which, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's our 3rd grade team, Miss Tolan, Miss McMillan, and Mrs. Dolmo, holding their certificate. So the grade level with the highest percent for the month gets recognized. The teacher gets a medal. They take these back to their classrooms, and then throughout the year, the grade levels that culminate the most will have another end of year incentive. So we're just trying to make it as positive as in our school culture for our students. Positive. That's correct. That is correct. Let me move on to the next slide. Oops. Oh, actually, let me go back to this one. I also wanted to just recognize some faces here in the pictures. Our school is a place where staff want their children to be. We've had several staff members whose children have already gone through SoCal, and we also have longstanding staff members like Mrs. Diana Damer, who's here in the audience today, whose grandchildren have also gone through SoCal. So it's a place where our own staff want their children to be. At SoCal, we believe in strong Tier 1 interventions. And so I'll just speak to a couple of the ways that we do that on campus. We direct students always from any misbehavior to following the Cougar Way, which in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see being kind, engaged, safe, and responsible is our motto on campus. So we're always redirecting them towards that positive language. We have Tier 1 practices where students are earning their Cougar paws. They can spend those at the Cougar store, and we're again just getting kids really excited about following the Cougar Way. Oh, and at our weekly PBIS assemblies, we also have a Cougar Power Tower. So all of the weekly Cougar paws that they earn, the counselor pours them in, and it's really exciting for the kids to see the tower fill. And then from there, we have school-wide incentives, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in one of the next slides. For Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions, we follow our cost practice, which is where if teachers have concerns for students around social, emotional, behavior, academic needs, they'll be referred to the cost intervention team, or we'll discuss the student, we'll pull up data and make sure that students have the appropriate supports. Some students may have something that's specifically directed towards their needs, like the My Cougar plan may help a student. For example, our 4th and 5th graders are getting really competitive out on the soccer field, and maybe a little, poor use of language as we're learning sportsmanship. So we will maybe perhaps redirect the Cougar Way and their plans specifically for that positive language and sportsmanship on the fields. Our wellness coach and our school counselor work really closely with our students who maybe come out of the cost process, who need additional supports. And we're always trying to find ways for students to thrive and be successful at school through all of these different interventions. Our student leadership is thriving and well, and I know Scott just got to come and visit. This is open to our 4th and 5th grade students, and all can attend. So we have approximately 50 students participating in our monthly student leadership meetings, and they are led by our school counselor and our wellness coach. So we're so pleased to have our wellness coach this year. They come up with things in student leadership. The Power Tower incentive for the school-wide incentive is selected by student leaders. They help to manage the Cougar store, sales and selection of items. They help to plan spirit days, keeping again our campus culture and climate really positive and exciting for kids to want to come to school. And they also will announce our monthly character traits. So for example, in the month of December, where our focus is on honesty through our counseling department, and they'll get up at our PBIS assemblies and introduce those things. We also have on campus a Rainbow Club, and that was based off of a need for students to create allyship and belonging, and we work collaboratively with the Diversity Center. We have a playground posse, which is a really fun way for our student leaders to get involved on campus. They will go and help and supervise out at the TK and K yard through the different recesses to help students integrate play and to help them with games. So maybe a student who's not playing, they'll go over and help them. Okay, in the area of enrichment and collaboration, there's so much going on here, so I need to make sure that I give all of the due diligence to this category. So certainly in art and music, we are very proud. All of our schools are in our district are very special and very unique. But I do have to highlight, as the principal of SoCal, why ours is so special and unique. So in regards to art and music, we have a long-standing program with highly qualified teachers. And thanks to our home and school club for helping to supplement the funds, our collaboration with school site council, and of course, cabinet, these things are really all possible for our students. When we're talking about music, there's a strong correlation between mathematics, learning, and music instruction. So we feel very fortunate that we have these programs. In the room tonight, you can see this is some of the art from our students, fourth graders and first grade art. Our art teacher works through literacy and mathematics to help those things come to life. So for example, in this one here, this is from a book called Señorita Mariposa. And the students are working on symmetry clearly, so bringing in the mathematics and the literacy into the art class. In music, they're working on music theory, reading, writing, and music notation, and they're learning how to play the recorder, the ukulele, and drum kits. And Diane Bach, she collaborates with Carnegie Hall for our students to have opportunities to play with the Santa Cruz Symphony. So that's another just fantastic opportunity that we are able to offer at our site through such a highly qualified instructor. We also have in the area of extracurriculars, choir and theater. Our choir is open for students in grades 3 through 5, and we currently have 50 students in our choir, and somebody plays bass in here for the choir. Our theater is for students in 4th and 5th grade. We have 25 students directly from our ELOP program and 10 students just from our general population. 95% of those students have never done theater, and we're really excited this year they are doing Alice in Wonderland. This area is also really important in the area of art and music because this is the built-in time for grade level collaboration. So 3 times a year, we have data cycles where we're analyzing data. Any data we can pull, CASP, iReady, FNP, Phonics, CDC, all of the data, pulling it together, universal screeners, and making sure that students have the right interventions. And then from there, we have focus-based inquiry cycles. As an example, in 4th grade, what came out of the fall data meetings was a focus on nonfiction reading based on the data. All right, getting to our academics and our focus areas. So again, we believe that that strong sense of belonging really is foundational to these things moving forward. And we are very proud of the work that's being done at SoCal. In the area of phonics and writing, we have been working with a consultant who is a national expert in the curriculum of UFly, which comes out of the University of Florida. And it was based off of the need on working explicitly and teaching phonics, as highlighted in the science of reading research. One of the data points that has come out of this in data teams, last year's 2nd graders were 54% proficient in FNP data, which is their independent reading. And then this year, that same group of students as 3rd graders is starting the year 70% proficient or above. So we're really excited about the consistency in the program and the work that's being done. And then this one I'm super passionate about. So in the area of instructional focus in mathematics, I think it's really important. It's one of the things we're talking about is modeling our own math identities for our students. So certainly I want to model that for the teachers, and I know our teachers want to model that for our students. I think it's a big part of the bigger picture. As you know, we are working on district-wide but school-wide math fact fluency, 60 minutes of math instruction, math number talks. And then through all of these focuses on phonics, writing, and mathematics, how are we really going to get there when there's so much to do? And that area of focus this year for our school, and of course for the district, our district, is academic conversations. And that comes out of the research, John Hattie's high leverage teaching practices for improving student outcomes by creating more opportunities for oral language in the classroom. And then one of our other very unique highlights that we're very proud of, as you know, is our dual language immersion program. Our dual language immersion classes go from kindergarten up to 3rd grade this year, which means we are at, by following the 90-10 model, we're at 60-40. And next year, as we add another 4th grade DLI, we'll be at 50-50, which we're very excited about. Oh, and then back actually here, there's Jeff Swears right there in Miss Ileana Jimenez's class. Yeah, so we have a team that's going to the Jeff Swears trainings at the COE, and he's been able to come into the site and demo right with our students and our teachers. So we're getting the hands-on learning that we need as educational leaders and instructors. And then lastly, all of this would not be possible without all of the partnerships that we have. We have a very strong home and school club who's working really hard in all of the different ways to bring in the funding so that we can support our strong art and music programs and the other programs that we're desiring to have on campus. We have a very strong ELAC program with very knowledgeable teachers such as Mrs. Ilda Hernandez Mesa that you see here in the picture. The bottom picture is our ELAC group. So really powerful voice, and that also would not be possible without all of the partnership with Cradle to Career. So we have Cradle to Career right on campus who helps with community outreach, helping families find additional supports to help their students be successful. And then the Kwame Center, which is one of my favorites that we get to partner with through the grant with the COE. We have students who are selected based off of social emotional needs, and they get to go out on approximately a 6-week program to a beautiful horse facility, as you may or may not know, up in Felton. Just a fantastic opportunity for students to gain additional skills and confidence. And I'm very proud to say that this is SoCal Elementary.
All right. Forgot in the standing reports that at SoCal I met Lupe and Kevin, the custodians at SoCal, and thank them for a wonderful job they do. It makes a difference as the child comes into school.
Yeah.
In what they do. So I thank them for that.
Yeah. It definitely takes certainly takes all staff and every staff they're connecting with children and creating a positive learning environment. So yeah. Are there any questions?
What was that?
First time was good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sorry.
Yeah, you did great.
We went into a room where they had the bunnies and the
Oh yeah, that's PK.
PK, that's
Yeah,
PK, and we
that's
call
fun.
it the animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bunny that runs around the classroom.
Winnie.
Winnie, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who takes care of the bunny over the weekends?
They're just in the farm together. It's a little farm. We're welcome to come by and visit the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good cutie.
It really is exciting just to see all the stuff that you're doing or that, SoCal is doing. It's such a great school. And I really love the emphasis you put on the arts, like showing it off, because you guys really do have a very strong arts program.
It really is.
Such a attraction to a lot of families.
Right. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Very cool.
Thank you. And really this, I feel like, just kind of scratches the surface to really get in there and to talk to teachers and find out what they're doing, the project-based learning. And there's really so much underneath it all. So yeah.
It's a wonderful presentation, and Your photographs are beautiful. I really
Yeah,
they are, yeah.
reading my packet over the weekend, like I found myself, I kept zooming in.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's so much wonderful detail in them, and it's just a real treat to
Thank
hear
you.
from you.
Thank
know.
you.
Been there not too many
Not
months,
too many
and
months.
you're clearly like,
Yeah.
you know, really well entrenched in it.
Thank
and
you.
It's a great presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was gonna say something similar about the photos, because it really speaks to the culture of belonging, like it
Mhm.
really brings the
Mm.
vibrancy of the school and all the different ways that kids can find their place of belonging. But
Mhm.
yeah, the pictures were great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Is that artwork part of your school too? The Batman slogans, how
Well,
over here?
I was told it was gonna be here.
Yes.
So let's see.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, we're
okay.
on onomatopoeia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's first grade. This is fourth grade.
Okay.
I believe so.
That's
Look,
fourth
I got it
grade.
back. Oh, Great first grade.
Great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great, yeah.
Oh, your first graders are impressive.
Yeah.
Fourth graders not so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for being
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah.
All right, next we have the report on the 2024-25 developer fees.
Okay, this is an annual report that's brought to the board every year. Developer fees are collected by the district each year. For the 24-25 school year, we collected an additional, almost about $92,000 in developer fees. Our ending fund balance for developer fees, and keep in mind, these are funds that are in our capital assets account. So we ended with just developer fees, just a little over 278,000. We did spend roughly about 316,000 in 24-25, and what we used those funds was the new playground for the TK Kinder area, which was much needed because the other one was outdated for the TKers, so that would then qualify as something that we would be able to use the development for.
Any questions? All right, well, let's move on to the discussion from board members on the CSBA 2025 Annual Education Conference. Who wants to start? Who was there? Nita was there, Kelly was there.
Yeah.
Jen,
Jen,
and then
Jen. So, it's, I think, just a really exciting event as a board member. Once a year, we get to meet with all the board members in the state. And this year we were in Sacramento, and it's 3 days and workshops, you know, on different topics and interesting speakers. And I would like to talk about, we won an award in our district. I'm so proud of our district. So, as you all know, we've had a few years now, 3 years, right? Of working with the city of Capitola to do the equity swim, and we won the CSBA Golden Bell Award.
Yeah.
So exciting. I love that equity swim program. But so we got to go to an award show and receive that award with other districts that won awards for their programs. So that was very exciting. I just would like to tell you some of the talks that I went to. There's so many choices. You can't do everything you want. But I just tried to think about issues in our district and how could I get some kind of other voices or background knowledge just to try to deepen what I do on the board. So AI is definitely a topic that boards are talking about. I attended 2 things about artificial intelligence. The first one was titled Artificial Intelligence Policies. Intelligent, yes. Artificial, no. And I thought that was interesting. They offered some sample policies, and they really talked about just that pause about instead of just jumping into AI and adding in that human element of, you know, thinking through, well, how are students using this and how do we want them to use it? And I really appreciate that about our district is that we have kind of hit the brakes on allowing students that free access to those large learning models, and we're thinking through how do we want to use those. So that was interesting. Another district, they did an AI think tank, which sounds so interesting. A student voiced blueprint for ethical and equitable integration. So they designed an entire day. They with students kind of planned, well, what is AI? How do you use it? So, and they brought in different people in the field, gave talks to students, and it was like little discussion tables, and they spent the whole day kind of thinking about AI, which was interesting. Two more. I wanted to. I'll just read you some of the topics just to give you a flavor of what my experience was like. Prop 98. What is it? Why do we have it? How does it work?
Yeah.
Important for funding. Exploration to opportunity, preparing students for the high demand careers of tomorrow. I was thinking of you. With and that was a lot about middle school and connecting it to those CTE classes in high school and how we can kind of work to make that jump. Got my brain flowing. And then a few more safe and supportive schools for LGBTQ plus students. That was another important one to try to support all students. And this one was really, really close to my heart. It was about teachers. Systematizing sustainability, a district-wide blueprint for educator well-being. And actually that one was so moving that I reached out to one of the spokespeople. So I'm gonna reach out to him to just learn more about. They have like he sent me his slides, and just really thinking about that there's many ways of that educators need to be fed in terms of well-being, right? That and that so much depends on them. So how do you monitor well-being of staff, which is a really interesting, a deep question. Yeah. And I enjoyed the speaker. We had a session speaker on civic engagement and dialogue, and it's always important to try to hear all sides and have an open discussion. So that was a great session speaker. I also enjoyed getting to know Jen, Scott, and Amanda more, which is a plus. So I'm hoping next year more of the board can go.
Where is it
Thanks.
next year?
San Diego.
San Diego. It'll be warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a mouthful. Thanks for letting me talk.
No, that's-
It really is a highlight of being a board member, being able to go. So thank you, everybody. Yeah.
All right.
Pass the baton.
Thank you. Yeah, it's our one big opportunity for professional development, like loaded into a 3-day conference. So it's a real privilege to be able to go, and we don't take it lightly. Thank you, Jen, from all of us for doing such a magnificent job taking care of the arrangements to make sure that we have a comfortable place to stay and know how to do our reimbursement forms, et cetera. Like everything that you do helps make the conference so much easier for us to attend and really be focused on the learning. So much appreciated. Like I'm full of gratitude. And thank you, Scott. I know that you are also supporting us along the way and making sure we're able to attend, and that's so important. Kelly covered a lot of what I would want to cover again, like just and I'm going to send you my notes, don't worry. But it was such a privilege and an honor for us to be able to receive the Golden Bell Award after so many years of going to this conference and like seeing other people get this special award. It was really neat for our little district to get it for such a special program. I'm going to speak a little more about the general sessions that we attended. I went to lots of workshops. I love that you gave the flavor. I tended to focus a little more on school funding, budget, legal updates. So things that we talk about in this room a lot. I just wanted to really deepen my understanding on that. The first keynote session we had was the gubernatorial candidates. So that's always interesting, a little politics flavor. So the gubernatorial candidates who accepted the invitation and came and spoke to this room full of like 5,000 people or however many we were. Obviously with, all of the questions were centered around education policy. That was interesting.
Who stood out to you? I don't want to interrupt. That's a good question.
I mean,
Very
in a
topical.
room full of school board
Edu-
members
yeah.
and educators, you know, the superintendent of public instruction in California, Tony Thurmond, you know, spoke very eloquently around educational issues. Antonio Villarosa, I'm bad at his last name, but it was kind of appropriate, like he happened to be in the middle of the row, and of course they explained all the rules of fair play about who drew which spot to sit where and speak where. He happened to be in the middle, and he's like he was the mayor of LA for several years, you know, consummate politician. You know, I think he's kind of a newsmaker type person. I mean, so not at all in terms of not standing out necessarily in terms of how anyone aligns with my beliefs. I just think in terms of like who captured attention in the room. You know, there's something about someone who is a very, very, very polished, jovial speaker. There's also someone about, you know, Betty Yee was there, and she has, you know, extensive budget knowledge, and, you know, clearly had that focus. So it's really interesting. A lot of flavors on the menu.
Yeah. I see
And
her name all over.
yeah, and
Jackson.
then the sheriff of Riverside County was definitely, you know, another character. So maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was interesting. And then another keynote session was a gentleman named Matt Lehrman. And he was the one who talked about the community engagement issues. And I think something that really stood out was he was talking about, for example, if you have a community forum, just remember to keep the conversation horizontal. We do a great job of this, but I liked that visual. Horizontal and not just vertical. Like, so invite all the participants at a community forum. Really started out by making sure people like talk to the neighbors around them, and start out with, you know, well, gosh, I think it was it Brittany talking about things you're proud of. That I think, yeah, you know, like what are things that we've worked together on? What are things that you've done in the past? Like, we're starting out with appreciation for what people in the room have already worked and contributed, and then we're talking about where do we want to go, what are our learnings. So that was important to let people talk about their experiences. And then it was our final general session, so that's where everyone's there, was a data scientist, and she was talking about AI and the future of education and the future of the workforce. So she talked about studies that show that what she called like cognitive offloading onto AI. I'm like, you're like, yeah, I know about this. It's going to lead to overconfidence and what she called shallow learning, right? That's like you're just having AI do the work for you. But if you're using it, and you've talked about this before too, if you use it as a scaffold, you're using it as a partner to your learning, that can really deepen a person's understanding. So again, just that reminder of there are positive uses for it, but it needs to be built responsibly by humans with good intentions. And it, you know, it could lead to better outcomes for kids, but there's just so much like work and intentionality that has to go into it. And I think we're all at the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Yeah. It was a wonderful conference. Thanks for letting me go on and on.
I'll just add, piggyback on all of that and just say I agree on all the parts. Just being able to collaborate with the other folks that went, and I'll highlight one session that stood out to me. One of the breakout sessions was around legislation to fund California schools on enrollment instead of attendance. So if there's 50 states in the United States, if you already know this, you can't guess, but I'll just take, how many states do you think of the 50 fund on attendance, like California? Any guesses? How much?
35.
35.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
I think I was in there.
I know. Yeah.
Guess?
oh, yeah. Oh.
10.
6.
6.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're one of 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's movement
Yay,
around that.
Who's running for governor?
The thrust of the presentation, I really appreciated because it was all around data. It wasn't just like we want more money, right? It was around, you know, this belief that's like the underpinning of why that happened many decades ago is like, well, if you fund them on enrollment and not attendance, are not going to promote attendance. And the data from the other states that have been based on enrollment and that have switched recently from attendance to enrollment bunks all of that. And we know that. our staff want kids to come to school, whether there's money involved or not, and that's not gonna stop. And so, keep on the lookout for that legislation. That's all for me.
And I just want to jump back in about the equity swim that in order to be eligible for this award, it required submitting an application and evidence and paperwork. And I just want to thank Scott for doing that because you put our name in. It's such a great program and it's so nice to be honored for that. So thank you.
Thanks,
for that.
Kelly. Yeah, and shout out City of Capitola for their
Yeah.
collaboration on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All right.
Jen, would you like to add anything?
Sure.
So if I can just say, there's an executive assistance program, and it's very rare that these groups get to come.
Yeah.
You know, it can kind of be a lonely job. You know, it's so important. There's so much weight on it, put together the whole board meeting. And so it's an opportunity for executive assistants across the state to come together. And Jen, since she's been in this position, has been very motivated. Not everybody wants to go and engage in that. And Jen's been very motivated to go and contribute and learn. So I just wanted to set that stage for you.
Yeah, and I just feel very privileged to be able to go, that I've been able to go for 3 years, like, just the amount that I've been able to learn, being in a room with people who've done my job for 20 and 30 years, like, the amount of knowledge that they have, and like, even I've met groups of EAs and like, we'll go have lunch on one of the days of the conference and just, you know, just talk about how they do things versus how we do things. And it's just amazing. It's the most amazing experience for me. I really love it. So I really am appreciative of being able to go.
All right, so that closes out our presentation piece. Do we need to be checking in on public comment?
You can check if there's anything in the room.
Any
Yeah.
public comment in the room?
There's nothing on email.
Okay. Well, let's move to our action items. First up is the Kent Construction lease back.
Yeah, Brett McFadden is here and he'll go over this. We're excited to bring Kent Construction forward as our selection for the lease back pre-construction and construction services for our 3 elementary sites for the site and field modernization projects. So with that.
Thanks, Ms. Warner. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, member Brett McFadden, District Advocates Group, your bond program management firm. Madam Chair, if it works okay, I can give you just an overview of the item. Ms. Warner drafted a very detailed background for you. I won't go into great detail on that, just in the interest of time. And then we have privilege tonight to have 2 guests, high-level leaders from Kent Construction. I'd like to have an opportunity to introduce them. They'll be becoming our partners who will be working with on these 3 projects. So as Ms. Warner stated, what we're asking for you tonight is the approval and the ratification of the selection of Kent Construction for lease back pre-construction and construction services, specifically for the site improvements and field improvements for the 3 elementary schools. And this is one of the first large set of Metro P projects. With the intent of your action tonight will then they will become additional members of our team, and our intent is to start construction this summer once we come out of DSA completely with approved plans and such. But through the lease-back model, you are allowed to engage in a pre-construction model as well as phase, and this allows us to bring on the contractor now and partner with us in terms of the ideas and such that we have for construction, as well as scoping, sequencing, and scheduling moving forward with that. In addition, we've authorized the superintendent or designee to engage in the development of the appropriate documents and contracts associated with it. We'll be coming back to you in several months as required by law to present to you the guaranteed maximum price for this project. And we'll be working with Kent Construction upon your approval tonight to develop that for you. In addition, the board item recognizes that our intent is to file what's called a CEQA exemption. While the projects are very detailed and they're going to be transformative for the school sites, they don't fundamentally alter the use of the school sites. They will remain California public education sites for instructional purposes. So we don't see significant off-site impacts. And as a result of that, we don't believe that calls for the development of a full-blown CEQA examination and analysis. The law allows you to seek exemption for that as long as you publicly notice that. under particular categories, which you've done in your prior projects as well. We, of course, will follow all required CEQA requirements and sustainability requirements as far as California public school construction and construction processes go, of course, but we don't feel that the full-blown CEQA analysis is warranted for these projects. And then finally, you received an email a couple of days ago from a local trade union. I'm happy to answer any questions with that, but we did provide an answer to that, and I shared that with you on behalf of the superintendent and his authority. If it's all right, Madam Chair, I'd like to introduce our guests and give them an opportunity to say hello and how excited they are. We're really excited. We have Kelly Sohanek, project engineer with Kent Construction, and then also joining her is Jackie Morton, the chief financial officer for Kent Construction. I want to provide them opportunity to say hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Do you need to be here for
It
the?
will help for the recording, yes. Thanks, sorry.
One of the
You're right.
earlier
Yeah.
means that we don't fight. So.
My name's Kelly Slahanik. I'm project engineer for Kent Construction. We are very excited to have the opportunity to build your 3 projects for you. We did have a great experience with the district for the most recent project that we did here, the field and track, and we are looking forward to break ground in 2026. Thank you.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jackie Morton. Kelly and I both live in Santa Cruz County. So although we work in Santa Clara County, we're always really excited to see what's happening in our local community and glad to be a part of it. So thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, welcome.
Right, so we're seeking your approval of this item tonight, and I'll stand, and as well as my colleagues will stand ready for any questions you have.
Question?
I'll just say you guys did a great job on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Super impressed with the time it took, everything else, navigating that whole process for us.
Great.
I'm ready to go.
How many construction services did we consider for the lease back?
Oh, in terms of how many firms did we look at and consider? Okay. Oh, that's a wonderful question. So we follow a process. The process is dictated in law in terms of how you notice and when you notice and what venues you have to notice and such. And so what we did was we engaged in notifications, paper general circulation, as well as in the local trade journal. We then also selected and looked at 12 firms, approximately 12 firms or so that we knew that had unique experiences and unique qualifications for SoCal in this type of project. We contacted them directly and shared their RFP. So this was a request for proposal and an open competitive process and such. And so we received, if I remember correctly, it was 5 or 6 proposals. I
There's
can't.
5 or 6.
Yes, so we received that. We engaged, the bond team engaged in a paper screening review. We reviewed those, scored those. According to the lease spec criteria, it has to be a stipulated and stated criteria. It's based on what's called best value. And there are a number of items in there on a scoring matrix. And so once we engaged in that scoring matrix, we scored them. 2 firms scored highest, Kent Construction and SC Builders. And we then conducted, and you're not required by law to do this. This is just an additional due diligence that you can do. We conducted an in-person interview, and we kind of put you through the ringer a little bit. We requested that the 2 firms not only engage in an interview with our committee, our bond team, but also provide a specific presentation according to several prompts that they were asked to do, and that presentation had to be within so many minutes and identify why they were a unique fit and why they're the best choice for the district and for this set of projects.
As well as having them bring their team with them that would be part of each of the projects.
And how much similarity is in this team and the team that did the New Brighton Field?
I'll look to there's some similarity but there's a couple new folks as well in terms of the overall team.
Yeah, it's the same team. There are additional superintendents. There's 3 different.
It's bigger.
Yeah.
Great.
And one of the criteria is we wanted to, they had to demonstrate we're packaging this attempt as one project, but in reality, it's really 3 projects. We will file 3 DSA project tracking numbers, for instance, but one firm will coordinate this. But it's critically important that you have superintendents at each site. We intend to launch these, I would say, simultaneously, but on the natural, they'll be staggered. And we'll do that in terms of project scoping and sequencing and scheduling because we'll use, economies of scale. So for instance, if we're doing a particular concrete project, well, we'll go to one site, do that concrete, transfer over to the next site and such. And so at some point in time, all 3 will be in construction, but they might be at slightly different stages.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, I really appreciate looking at the proposal and seeing some visuals of the amphitheaters that your team has done, and it really lined up with our vision for amphitheaters. Like we've already seen the work that you can do on a field, but we're so excited to transform our elementaries in that way, so it's exciting to see. Neat to see the visual, and it sounds like it's been a real thorough vetting process. Yeah.
It was. And actually, Kent clearly scored high. That was a unanimous decision in terms of the scoring. Scoring was slightly different per each individual, but Kent scored high. But we did deliberate with the 2 firms. Both had unique attributes and experiences and such. We felt that we had a very strong pool. Any number of the firms that we looked at probably could have, done the project and done well. Kent just stood out as the best. And prior experience with Kent, with the New Brighton Middle School field project was certainly, one of the experiences that ultimately was the tipping point in terms of their selection.
I really appreciated the personal letters just from past clients and other school districts. It was some real glowing reviews.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, because we're very excited. This is it may not seem like it, but this is one of those milestone events and actions at this point in time. We hope you approve this because we've already scheduled a meeting on the January 7th. So we're kind of jumping the gun a little bit. So, anyway, I'm a little nervous right now for some reason. I don't know why.
Is there any public comment in the room?
And there's nothing on email.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the selection of Kent Construction for leaseback, pre-construction and construction services for the Main Street Santa Cruz Gardens and SoCal Elementary School site and field modernizations projects.
And I'll second that.
Okay, you have first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks. That was good. I also want to say, on behalf of DAG too, thank you for your trust in us. Your staff is outstanding, and days that I or my colleagues are here, they're very welcoming and they're also a lot of fun to work with. Yeah, so tease me a little much, but all right. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to considering the considering the resolution in remembrance of Rose Felice.
Yeah, so this one, while somber, obviously is also really important just to honor the legacy of a real champion of equity and inclusion in many capacities across this county. So Rose Felicetti not only represented our area on the county school board, but her impact goes way beyond that official position as being somebody who was very much concerned with our youth in our community and just the community well-being in general. And she put her money and her time where her mouth was, serving on many different boards, being on the founding board of Digital Nest, which was a movement towards digital equity, and trying to bring the nonprofits together, which is so important so that there is that power amongst the groups rather than everybody just trying to do something individually. So just a very powerful individual that I was fortunate to get to know. I remember when I first came here, that was one of the first people Amanda introduced me to as a real mover and shaker in a positive way in our county. So just would open it up to any other comment as we recognize this giant that was amongst us and has passed on.
Well, I did write something up to say. It was a real honor to know Rose, and so I wanted to write something up to honor her. And there's some of this information's in the resolution, but I just wanted to say it aloud. Before she moved to Capitola in 2010 with her wonderful husband Neil, Rose had most of her adult life in raising her kids in Mountain View. So she was served as a board trustee on the Mountain View Wisman School District for 10 years. She was also the executive director of the Santa Clara County School Boards Association, which is actually has a staff. I mean, lots of school boards in Santa Clara County. So she was their executive director as a profession for 15 years. She also had many other amazing jobs. And then, as Scott mentioned, she was the trustee. So moved here, to retire in 2010, but clearly took on many roles. And she did education speaking. She was the board trustee for the County Office of Education for our area. When she served in that role, she came to our board meetings periodically and provided reports and updates, which was really wonderful. And she was also served as a member of our bond oversight committee for Measure C. So I was first introduced to Rose in early 2014 when I was running for this office. Again, got to know about all of the countless hours of time she was putting into volunteering, really to just better this community. It was her newer community, but she loved living here so much, and she really cared about doing right by our kids, community, and public schools. One of the projects I worked with her on for years was she was really passionate about bringing more women in to serve in public office and really trying to find people who would have that spark and that ability, but maybe just didn't fully realize that it could be their time. And so she started this group called Breaking the Glass Ballot, and we worked together on different events to try to recruit people and train people and come serve your community. You can do this. She brought people together in the best way. I have never known anyone who could connect and encourage people so effectively. So she was just a total treasure, and with all of her wonderful experience, my fondest memories of her are sitting with her and talking about our families and looking at the beautiful, colorful manicures she always had and the purple streak in her hair, talking about beloved, University of Washington Huskies, because she was a proud Husky. So she was just as you said, Scott, just a real giant in our community, and she'll really be missed. And I wanted to take the time to honor her here. We are right here in the seat of the community she cared so much about. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Amanda. That's really touching.
All right, do we have a motion?
I would love to make a motion that we adopt the resolution in remembrance of Rose Filicetti.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? And then,
Trustee Gray,
aye.
trustee Jackson Miller,
Aye.
trustee Donnelly,
Aye.
trustee Dickinson,
Aye.
trustee Edmondson.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to the legal plans for student achievement update.
Great, thank you. So it is my pleasure to bring our school plans for student achievement forward to the board for approval tonight. As this board knows, similar to the LCAP process, the local control accountability plan, we set goals for our district. From those goals, each site sets goals in alignment with those and our state priorities. And so when we have a goal for teaching and learning, in our LCAP, you will find a similar goal in the SIPSA plan that will be how a school is going to achieve the metrics set out by the LCAP. So with that, you'll notice that in the SIPSAs that every school does not have the same plan. And that's because they have different teachers, they have different demographics, they have different students. The data to support students will vary, and it should vary by school. And so where you'll see in a middle school plan, something different than an elementary plan, that's completely natural. And you can see the voice from each school site as you read the school plans for student achievement. I'm very proud that when I read them, I can get the essence of the school and what they're attempting to do. And I'm also seeing the massive labor that goes into creating these plans, because it is the school leader with the staff, with families, with councils, really coming together and saying, this is what we're hoping to achieve for our school in alignment with the district goals. This is how we think we can get there. So this is required by Ed Code, and it is required to be approved by our school board. So that is why we are bringing it to you tonight for action and approval.
It's always so daunting when we get the docket with the SIPSas in them, because it's a lot of pages, right? And I'm always like, okay, like this is like make a bigger pot of coffee. I usually kind of early on a weekend morning, but like you said, like when I dive into this, it is like it gives me this extra deep insight into the intentions and specific goals at each site, and I really appreciate that. And I can't thank our school site councils enough. I mean, our administrators do a wonderful job, but that is imagining, especially I'm imagining it at elementary sites, you probably have some parents with some pretty young kids, and there are a lot of things that they're juggling, and they are like showing up and really investing time into something that provides so much important guidance. So I don't have specific questions. I appreciate getting the opportunity to dive in and read it all. Just gratitude.
Thank you.
Any comments in the room? What's online?
Nothing on email.
All right, if there aren't any other questions or comments, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the SIPSAs. Can we just shorten it like that?
Sure. Works for me. I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? All right, motion passes. Okay, now the first interim report.
Yay, the clip later 5,000.
Oh. Thank you, George. Oh. George is on top of his game.
Always.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Is everyone ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stand up. I'm watching, but I just need a stretch. I am ready.
Okay. So the blue dot, that's where we are right now. We're at first interim, which is basically financials through October 31st and so forth. You can see in January the governor's budget will come out. March is when we'll see second interim, and that would be expenditures as of January 31st and so on. And then we'll it goes to April, May, and June.
And then the date in June is basically for that year that has just passed. We say this is what that year looked like in definitivity.
For June is when we'll have adopted budget for the following year. And then we have unaudited actuals in September for the prior year. So unaudited actuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the final data for this year is not on this. Year.
No,
Okay.
it would be in September. Yeah.
Okay.
Great question. Okay, so key factors, of course, we're always looking at enrollment trends. Now we have the added tutoring of the funding, staff labor costs, salaries, benefits, they increase year over year. STIRS, that pension is staying pretty level across the board. PERS is the one that does kind of go up. It can go up from half a percent to 1%. sometimes a little bit more each year. State and federal funding, special ed costs, rising operating costs like utilities, insurance, transportation, and so forth are key factors all within the budget. Okay, so getting into the combined projected revenue. So we're projecting for 25-26 our LCFF revenue to be about $17.5 million. Federal will be about 915,000. Other state would be about 2.7 million, and that would be a lottery, the music discretionary block grant. We still have a little bit of money there. Our Prop 28 funding, any mental health funding. STIRS on behalf is also, that's that weird little transaction. So we have to record it both in revenue and expenses, but it's just like the fair market value. It's a recording that has to be in both places. So that's also embedded in there. Our local funding is about 855,000. And that would be like donations, rental fees, any interest or anything that we collect in Fund 1 and so forth. And then transfers in. So the transfers in, that comes from capital facilities, and that helps fund our deferred maintenance and so forth that we have in Fund 1. And as you can see, our funding is, moving pretty steady in the out years. We can see for LCFF revenue, that's still based on if we are funded by LCFF. And based on the projections that we have today for our property taxes and so forth.
And the increase in LCFF is because of COLA largely?
Mostly, yeah, because the COLA has gone up a little bit because we did see a decline in enrollment this year again, so that does affect. Oops, did I go too far? Sorry, I'm upside down. Okay. So looking at just our unrestricted side of the house for 25-26, you'll see we're about like 14.4 million, and 26-27 and 27-28 relatively the same, going up slightly more in 27-28. And again, the COLA is going up. It's about 3.2 in 26-27, and I believe it's about right under 3.5 projected so far as of right now in 27-28. You'll see our expenses are going down slightly in 26-27 and 27-28, and that's fairly due to anything internal that we're seeing that we're kind of made from attrition or anything like that that we can see that we're reducing on the unrestricted side of the house. Right under there, you can see the deficit spending, the 1.2 in 25-26, and due to any savings that we can find in expenses that have also kind of been accounted for in 26-27 as a projection in 27-28. That deficit spending continues to go down. Our beginning balance is 3.7 million for the 25-26 school year, and that was up slightly due to unaudited actuals. So that brought our ending balance to about 2.5 million as of first interim again. So that brought our reserve up to about 10%. Whereas at adopted, our reserve, we're looking at about a 6.5% reserve. We'll see that we have assigned, which is about $450,000. What's embedded in there is about $250,000 for the math book adoption. And then there's about $122,000 for any increased bed costs. And then that fund new fair market value recording that we have to record within our budget, which is about $78,000.
Does that stay the same number for all 3 years for the assigned, if we're talking about new textbooks? We don't have to purchase those, or is it prorated or ameliorated over the 3 years?
So the tricky thing with the assigned is if I assign it in 25-26, I have to also assign it in the out years in the event that we used it in 25-26. So that way it's reflecting that it was already used in 25-26, so it carries forward.
But it wouldn't when we actually get to the year.
When that year ends, yes, then I would look at 26-27, say we're in 26-27, I would look at what we need to project for that year that's not in the budget that we may plan on using that year, and I'll put that in assigned, and then that would have to carry over. So then it reflects on the balance with the assigned.
Is that a pretty standard amount? Is it like every year it kind of ends up being around $400,000 to $500,000, or is that?
Yeah, it really depends on this textbook option. It's gonna require a little bit more to set aside, due to it being the math, and there's, I'm assuming consumables and all that we have to purchase compared to maybe textbooks and some licenses and so forth. So we have the regular textbooks, plus we have the consumables that have to be purchased, so it's a little higher this year. Usually it's about 150, that's what I believe I had in there last year.
That's right.
For textbooks, yeah, so depending on what we're kind of looking at.
Okay.
Are consumables like the workbooks
Yes.
where they tear the sheets out? Okay,
Yes,
that's
thank
fine.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a long time to do it. What exactly is it?
Those are the papers I find on my kitchen table. I got it.
And remind us how much 1 month of our budget is. What percent is spending 1 month of our budget?
So you mean as far as for salary?
1.8, right?
Yeah, it's about 1.8, give or take, 1.8 million.
And when we're talking percent, it's about.
So if we're talking percent, so that would be, if we're looking, because it wouldn't be the exact budget, but if we're saying 3% reserve for this year, because the reason, if you look at the bottom, I'll explain that real quick. So if you look at the bottom, the 3% required reserve, see how it's changing? It's changing based on our total expenses. That's how that's calculated. So it takes the total expenses of unrestricted and restricted dollars, and it divides it, you divide it into the ending fund balance before and after. I like to show both of assigned, and that's where we get the required 3%. So in 25-26, to get to about that 1.8 million, 3% is about 750. So 6% of that would be about 1.5, so it'll probably be on 7%, give or take.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is our restricted side of the house. And now with the restricted side of the house, even though we are deficit spending, we do have those one-time dollars that are in the fund balance. So therefore, in order to spend those funds down, we kind of have to deficit spend. Eventually, we'll see, like, you know, where we're getting out to 27, 28, that'll all net out, and that's normal for the restricted side of the house to net out to zero. Because what we receive in, we spend, and unless there's a windfall of one-time funding that I have not heard of, that would be amazing. So we're on track with our restricted side of the house. So I like to just kind of show a pie chart of what our projected revenue looks like for 25-26. So as of right now, we're receiving about 78% of our budget from LCFF funding. Even though we've seen declining enrollments, we're about 1449 for enrollment as of our consensus day. So again, like I've explained before, as enrollment's going down, even though our staff is doing an amazing job with attendance, we're at about 95%, it's still not bringing up us as much revenue as we'd hope, because we don't have as many students. So that 95% doesn't really equate to like if we had like 1,500 students or 1,550. So that's why we're not seeing as much revenue there. You'll see then transfers in, like I talked about, the capital facilities going in for deferred maintenance in the general fund is about 2.3. Our local revenue is about right under 4%, state revenue is 12%, and federal is just a tad over 4%. And this kind of just shows where our expenses go. So if you look at this chart, you'll see certificated salaries, classified salaries, and you'll also see benefits. So with all three of those together, that's roughly about 85%, 86% of our budget. And that's what it should be looking like. We have about 12.6% for contracted services and 3.9% for books and supplies. Now, what falls under contracted services, this is unrestricted and restricted. Sometimes we do have to contract out for aids and so forth for our special ed programs, which is totally normal. So what we try to do is if we have to contract out, that's when we see an increase in contracted services. It also includes licenses and other things like that as well. But, you know, our SPED team does an amazing job recruiting. So we have been able to lower those contracted services and so forth. Now, I really wanted to share this slide with you, and this kind of goes over the property tax comparison, and this kind of will help show how volatile things really are. So if we look at the top two rows, it starts from 1819 and it compares the annual amounts that we've received for property tax. So if we go over, so 1819 we received about 12.6 million at the end of the year. That's unaudited actuals when everything was finalized. In 1920, same time frame, we received 12.8. That was an overall increase of about 221,000, which equated to about a 1.8% increase in property taxes. You'll see that each section, you'll go into 2021, it was a 1.3 increase, and then 21-22 was a 3.4. Go down to the next row, you'll see in 22-23, there is a huge increase in property taxes of 11.2%. That's pretty much when we're kind of coming out of our COVID years, where everything was kind of stagnant. And all of a sudden, you know, floodgates open and people were getting out of the house and we're buying. Now we get into 23-24. We went back to around normal range of about a 2.2% increase. And then in 24-25, we saw a 6.9% increase in property taxes. So that was last year when we closed out. But I also wanted to show what it looks like for us at each interim. Because if we go down to that very bottom row, you'll see in 23-24 compared to P1, which is also first interim. This is what I received from the COE. So this is how I base my property taxes for current year. So in 23-24, it was showing at first interim that we're going to receive $4.8 million in property taxes, which was a decrease of 2.5% over the last year. As we go from, then we compare 24-25 P1 to 24-25 P2. Then they reevaluated. The state reevaluates and said, okay, well, wait a second. No, we think that actually there's going to be a slight increase. So over P1 and P2, it's going to go up about 4%. So then when the year closed out, 23-24 compared to 24-25 annual, it ended up going to 6.9% increase over the unaudited actual amount we received in 23-24. So that's where it shot up, and that's where it's so volatile. They like to be super conservative, especially at first interim. Second interim, they take another look at it and say, wait a second, let's do a little change. But then it at the end of the year, then it really changes. And so that's what's making it so hard to know exactly where we're going to be. Because then if you go right over to the side, a little bit over to the left, compare our first interim to where we closed out at in 24-25, it's a negative 6%. So we're losing roughly over about $1 million, right under $1 million in property taxes. A big piece of that is ERAF. It's about $440,000. The ERAF is zeroed out. And that may be on the next slide. Yes. Yes, so this one will show you how the property taxes are broken out. So you'll see in 24-25 at unaudited actuals, this is how much we receive for each section of our property taxes. Towards the middle, a little bit over to the left, you'll see the ERAF. In 24-25, we received the 446,000. But if you look down to first interim, when we receive the report, it's zeroed out. So that's about half of what we're not receiving, about the $980,000. So if this were to stay the same, we would still not be basic aid. We would still not be getting the ERAF. However, if property taxes do go up, if higher than this, if we get closer to that 16.3 million that we received last year, we would technically be basic aid. And then the supplemental funding right there, that was 369 last year, and which is estimated at P1 at 277, we would not be receiving that. So both ERAF and supplemental would be zeroed out, and we would be solely on all the other taxes that are combined. But again, I kind of wanted to share this just to show the volatility of where we're at right now and how hard it is to try to figure out exactly where we're going to end up by the end of the year.
I'm sure you've told us before. Can you remind me what ERAF is? Oh my gosh. I don't need to know the words, like what the acronym is, but
it's, oh my gosh.
And I can take an answer later in an email.
Yes,
If
I'll
that's
send you
an
an email.
on the spot question, I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah, yeah.
Okay, no worries.
It's a piece of the property tax that we get, but I'll send
Yeah,
you
I guess
the-
just why it's zeroed out.
Because this is, okay, now this is the portion that the COE and the state can control.
Okay.
So the COE looks at it and says, okay, until you're deeper into basic aid, we don't want that to put you into basic aid or take you out. So the reason why the COE zeroed that out
Okay.
is if we went anywhere, you know, close, if we get anywhere close to that 60.3 million, we'll be in basic aid. So I think it was another measure for them to save the step of having to pull any of that URAF back at the end of the year, because that's what they did last year. They pulled the $141,000 back.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if they hadn't, we would be pushed into the basic aid status.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
that's-
That's helping remind me of earlier.
Yeah.
Educational Revenue Augmentation Fund.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes,
Yes. Thank you.
good one.
Yeah. I like it. The ERAP is much easier.
Yeah. Sounds like G-Rap, but
Thank you, Robert.
whew,
Yeah.
it's heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I thought this is like super important to share. We went over at FPT too. It just shows it's so volatile, and especially from first interim to second interim, then to closing. Just that was the biggest shocker last year. It's like, wait a second, what happened here?
Well, it's
So,
$1 million.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then going into, first interim this year,
Mhm.
yeah, so hopefully at second interim, we see a change and increase. What that will be, we're not 100% sure yet. Okay, so are the key priorities is to continue to track and manage the rising costs of our special education strategy, strategies on reducing dependency on external services. Our team has been doing an amazing job. I really have to say, Carissa has done really awesome with doing everything she can, with keeping cost in mind, but making sure all the students receive the services they need, because that's super important to us, right? Program promotion, SAGE, DLI, ELA programs, gardens, it's like huge, and especially for Santa Cruz Gardens, their SAGE program, it's amazing. Just those things really attract and, really cause draw a lot of attention. So we're continue with the curbing our deficit spending, continue to explore more extreme measures to cost save, such as what's on the table, what we talked about last time, the our district consolidation. And then again, navigating through LCFF and basic aid status. And just, keep continuing to talk about this in our FPT meetings and so forth, and continue to look at our key decisions, right? So forth. Any questions or comments?
I have a question. I'm trying to think of the way to ask it that's the most clear. Okay, so on this last slide that has the 24, 25 unaudited and 20, the one right before this.
With the ERAF.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we move into in order to move into basic aid, we have to meet that 16.3 number.
It's close to that. So it's when I drop the numbers into the LCFF calculator, it'll tell me when we kick into basic aid. So depending on what our enrollment or what our ADA is, or when I'm doing the interns, is when it will tell me. It's a calculation that it does. So depending if our ADA drops, then and we have more property taxes, that could be a different number
like
today. Than it is.
But this picture on the bottom, is this us being in basic aid, or is this us not being in basic aid yet?
This is not. So this is where we're at right now
Right,
as a
okay.
first interim. So this is the projection that I received from the COE on the J29 of property taxes. So this is the information that I use. I use that grand total and I plug it into the LCFF calculator. Yeah.
If we were, so, and we won't know until September of next year, right? If we're basic aid or not.
That we'll have our final numbers by then. Yes. So at second interim though, we'll see how this changes.
Second interim, we'll have a pretty good idea.
It will, well, if we look at, if we go back, let me go back one more slide. So if we go back one more slide, just to show that bottom line right there in 24-25, it went from a negative 2.5% that at first interim. Then we go to second interim where it says P2, and it was only a 0.4 increase over the P1 estimate. And then we got into the annual amount and it went up 6.9%. So we might see a little increase at second interim, but we won't probably see as big of an increase that we will in September when we do unaudited actuals.
So it's really September that we would know for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then my ultimate question is, on that slide, that the next one.
Yep.
At the end of the day, if we were to be in basic aid for this year, does our grand total in that lower right need to equal 16.3 at least? So we won't be at less money for the year if we're in basic aid. Is that an accurate statement?
That's where it's kind of hard. It depends on the calculation with the ADA. It could, if our ADA drops, that number could need to be more or less, depending on which way the ADA goes. Because it's like it's all has to do with the LCFF calculation, right? If LCFF is bringing in less funding than property taxes, then we're basic aid. If property, so and vice versa, if LCFF shoots up, say we have like 96%, it exceeds the 16.3 million.
Okay, so take away the 16.3, but as a concept, if we were to be in basic aid for a given year, we would bring in more revenue than we would have if we were LCFF.
That would be the hope, but that may not always be true, especially when we're in declining enrollment. If we're in declining enrollment, then yes, it probably would, because we'd be receiving more than we would earn with LCFF. So yes, and that, yeah.
Okay.
But then we don't get the supplemental.
But we won't get the supplemental.
Right.
So
That's why it's not a guarantee that
that's why
it'll be more.
it's the calculation is very, yeah.
So the
if we-
supplemental is built into that 16.3.
But that was in 24-25. So that supplemental, once we get that certificate from the state saying that we are a basic aid district, they will no longer fund the supplemental funding for us. That'll be zeroed out. So ERAF and supplemental will both be zeroed. And then in that year that it says, so say we receive a letter in June or July saying, then they tell us for 26-27 school year, you are a basic aid district. Regardless of how the numbers shake out once school starts and what everything looks like, even if we plug our numbers in and say the LCFF calculator says, oh no, you're still LCFF funded for 26-27. Well, the state has already said we're a basic aid district, so we will not get supplemental or ERAF for that year, even if it were to flip flop. That's why that's why the COE is trying to kind of help by removing the ERAF right now, so we don't get pushed in too soon. Yeah, but it's all a big, depending on what ADA comes in at, enrollment. I mean, based on our demographic study, we don't foresee our enrollment going up. So that's why going into basic aid is going to be here before we know it. And the 16.3, it probably would be maybe under that a little bit, maybe even like 16.1 million or something based on declining enrollment. So we don't have to actually get to that 16.3 if that helps.
Okay. Thank you.
Is this uncertainty why the guidance is to have a higher percentage of funds held in reserves?
Absolutely, absolutely, because we will only, again, if we receive that letter, we will only receive our revenue 2 times a year versus monthly. Yeah, so there'll be all those months without receiving any revenue. And so making cash flows the concern. Yeah.
That's why they're saying 15 to 30% reserves.
Yeah, and that was the COE.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought these would be powerful slides, but I thought it
Yeah.
was super important for
Yeah.
everyone to
Yeah.
see what I see and to understand where the estimates come from, that I actually receive them and I plug them in based on what I receive and so forth.
And I like that we're transparent.
Mhm.
Everybody who's
Yeah.
watching can see these numbers and see exactly what we're basing decisions on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
explaining it so thoroughly.
Sorry, I didn't know the acronym.
No. I
gonna bother me now.
I didn't need to know the acronym and I don't need any follow-up on it, because then something that you said did like trigger this old brain to remember an earlier presentation. So it's yeah, it's hard news, but you do a good job explaining it. And on an optimistic note, I mean, the thing that I know would help so much, obviously, anything that everyone can continue to do to try to increase revenue, such as like, reminding folks about how wonderful our schools are and the amazing programs. And I know our staff does such a great job about our attendance, but I think everyone involved in our community could also be like a messenger to spread the word. And as there's new housing that comes around in our community, the more that all of us can make an effort to get to know our new neighbors and speak about all of our schools' amazing programs, hopefully we'll be able to get more folks to come on board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Or comments from the room?
Nothing on.
All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the 25-26 first interim report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, this next one is consider the approval of appointment of teacher on provisional internship permit.
So I will just lead off by saying that we have amazing teachers that come to us from a variety of backgrounds, right? So there's not just one pathway into teaching. And sometimes those pathways require some support and assistance. So one such pathway is provisional internship program, which allows somebody while they're getting their teaching credential to actually be in the classroom. And so in this particular instance, the teacher happens to be in the room, Miss Ileana Jimenez. So thanks for being with us. And I can just say, without belaboring this too much, is that as the first grade DLI teacher, when that, as was mentioned earlier today, as we were building that program up, kindergarten, then first grade, Sandy and Jessica and I work really closely from all our different perspectives on staffing that program. And we were all like totally thrilled when Ileana expressed interest in going from a DLI aide to a DLI teacher. There's just so many good parts of that. One, it's somebody that knows the program, is already intimately invested. And it just always brings me a lot of great pride. And I know for Jessica and Sandy too, when one of our classified members is able to move into the certificated ranks. There's just so much positive about that. And so this is just, it's a process that we have to bring to the board for consideration for approval so that, we can have Ileana finish her program and also continue to teach. And we've had lots of discussions about how sometimes the state represents these numbers in a negative way. And then when you actually get to see these folks in the classroom, we've been in Ileana's classroom recently for math and just saw like the most focused on-task behavior, serious math instruction that the students were all grasping. I was so impressed by that day. And then even today, just walking by when we were at Soquel, Ileana's class comes by and in a line that was, you know, these are little things. The instruction's the most important, but how students walk in a line matters too, because it sets the tone. And they were on point with that too. So, you know, sometimes just looking at those numbers and how they're represented, and then thinking about what's really happening in the connection to students can be very different. So with all of that, take any questions about this consideration for a PIP? Provisional internship permit.
I like the PIP.
Questions? I of course want to thank
Yeah.
everybody who's still on the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Especially, you know,
Yeah.
and her
Yeah.
principal Brittany
Yeah.
and our personnel coordinator Sandy.
No questions? No? All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the appointment of teacher on provisional internship permit.
I'd like to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate the trust that you guys have on me.
Thank you for waiting for our.
And just the fact that you sat here for the last 3 hours. It's really.
You learned a lot, right? Yeah.
No, it was a great meeting. The kids that were here is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they are-
That's our favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my good.
Yeah.
I love you guys talking, but. They are the best.
No, you're very honest too.
Oh. All right, our last item is consider nominating the CSB Delegate Assembly Representative for Subregion 9A.
So we talked earlier about the CSBA conference and how much just the organization CSBA does to support California school board members. And one of the really important parts of CSBA is the delegate assembly. They serve on 2-year terms. They have decision-making opportunities as a part of that group. And for us, as Ariel mentioned, we are subregion 9A. And if you look at that, we have, so there's San Benito and Santa Cruz. There's currently 2 representatives from that area, one of whose term is coming up. The representatives from San Benito is coming up. So if anybody wanted to nominate either somebody from this board or somebody they know from our subregion for that position. I do not know if the current person, Patricia, is planning to run again or not. She's not planning to run again, so it'll be an open seat. So yeah, if you know anybody who would like to nominate, this would be the time.
Last year, did we abstain?
Yeah, which you can do. Yeah, if you don't have somebody that you have in mind. Yeah, it's just we always want to provide the opportunity.
Have no nominations.
No.
Thank you to anyone who's willing to do that.
Right.
To go to like a 2 or 3 day meeting in Sacramento one day, and then they get to have an extra
Look,
couple of days.
I'm the alternate on like 5 different committees, okay?
So I get in one of the way alternate days.
I stamp my.
Phil used to tell great stories about that delegate
Yeah,
assembly.
yeah.
It sounds like we're abstaining.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else we need to.
No.
Guys, lack of.
Is there any correspondence? Are there any future agenda items from board members?
It's already on there.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against? All right, meeting adjourned.
Hey, good job, new president.
Are you gonna get the ball?
Good night, Brittany. Great job, Brittany.
Yeah, thank you.
It was wonderful.
Boy, packed a lot in.
Yeah.
And how would your method?
Can I borrow your
Pass
pen?
the baton.